Hello, and welcome back. Hope everyone's doing well today. Hope everyone's had a good day so far. I actually quite enjoyed my little breakies today that I had, where I just played Star Rail aggressively and watched South Park because I hate myself. I mentioned this on Twitter. I'll talk about it briefly, just to start off the stream. But I decided, because every once in a while I get an urge to like watch or rewatch something, and often I just let that happen, because those urges tend to lead me towards really interesting and weird ideas. I'll watch or play or read or something like that, and from there I can develop a concept or an understanding that I might not have before. Or I can kind of like because some of the things I've done is like I've rewatched a really bad series, looked at it and I'm going, okay, so this is why it was bad and I didn't really quite click to that last time. Or maybe it was better than it was, sort of thing, right? So I'm doing that with South Park at the moment. I'm like at season 3, because I started from the beginning, and God, it is pretty much what I remembered. But I will give them credit, their way of weaving jokes is a little bit more interesting than I probably thought it was in the past. But I don't know if I've kind of mentioned this before, like I don't like a lot of Family Guy, Simpsons, South Parky sort of shows nowadays where it's just like the commentary style of those sorts of shows just tends to like They tend to be interesting for a little while, and then they try and kind of get old real quick. And I'm expecting that with South Park, especially now it's got like 20-something seasons. Because it started at like it started in the 90s, like late 90s, so. Also, I'm not gonna wear my hair tie today because it's starting to lose its elasticity a little bit, and it's just starting to get kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting to a point where I really don't know if I want to even wear my headphones as much, but I'm also not gonna just like pump audio out of my thing at this stage. So mixed feelings on that. And if someone asks, I do need to have something playing in the background while I'm doing my work. If it's music or videos or stuff like that, I like to have just a little bit of background noise. But yeah, so since we last departed, let me just grab this so I can actually have a look at what has been done since last time. I've tweaked up a couple more weapons, and some abilities, worked on a couple of other systems. I have a list here of things that we're gonna try and aim to be tasks for today. A lot of it is just kind of like further cleanup on weapons and abilities. I know there's a few that are still kind of not so great, and there's some that I've tweaked and I haven't actually looked at them being tweaked. So that's something. But there's one that I want to, so there's two things I want to do. There's one thing I want to check on. I feel like I was starting to work on something, and I haven't finished it yet. Yeah, so I was working on it, but I don't think we did anything further, right? No. Okay. So we did this on stream at one point. We started working on Kason, doing her design more akin to what is kind of the normal instead of the current, which was at the time her new one, and a lot of people kind of, the indications had it that, to my understanding, that was going to be her new one, which was this, with the jacket and stuff like that. Didn't end up being the case, so I'm going to do this for her design instead. So I might work on that at least initially. Play around with some of it. So, got to get the baselines worked on. I'm also just double checking some of my list, because that's something I do want to get done today. So, realistically speaking, I've talked about this a lot on stream at this point now. The current stage of the game, right? So a lot of people have asked, like, when's the next update? And I've genuinely, for like the last month or so, I've said like maybe a week or two out, and I've kept saying that. So, obviously, my gauging isn't quite right. But to be fair, some of that has been me waiting on systems that I expected to have been done by now. That aren't on my end. So with that being the case, what I'm now in a situation of is I'm just going to get all the stuff I know needs to get done, tweak things that I know need to get tweaked, so I know gap values need to be changed for UI, and we're probably going to round it out and actually give this update out in its more or less current state, maybe as soon as like the last few boxes have been ticked. And then from there, I'm going to be trying to push all of the updates and getting a lot of the work done on a highly regular basis, and getting the public updates out more often moving forward. So you're never left with the same build for too long. Because I need to start working on kind of the final expectations of this game. Because we do need to get the Steam release ready soonish. I kind of want it to be this year. I want the Steam release to be done this year. Which means that there's a lot of work that needs to be done between now and before the end of this year. So, we'll see how that goes. So I'm gonna get this done for today. So we need the idle and the sprint animations done. So let us, so this is the base skin color. Oops. Cool, that's the exact same still. Best part is, for now, let's just yoink the hair. And more or less place it same. And we will do the tweaks as necessary after. Whoops. Eyes. Okay. But yeah, so we'll still do some programming today. Like, there's no way that this art's gonna take the full day. And what we're gonna end up working on, I'll need to find the scripts for it all. But this is one of the main ones we're gonna need to look at. So we're gonna need to look at how a character is constructed and the data relevant to that. And we're also going to probably be making some more saved data soon. Okay. There's also something I needed to write down as a note. Write it down here, because I'll write it down later. There we go. Sorry, I was just... That's a note that I need to put forward somewhere or take action on it myself, which I'm probably just going to do myself at this point. Okay, so one benefit we have with clothes is that because this is the setup we do have, that's copy-paste. For the most part. Now, I am going to need... I wish there was a way... Is there a way to be able to show, like, multiple frames at once? This is something that I'm wondering about. Yeah. Yeah, onion skinners like show the layers back and forth. That's not what I want. I want side-by-side comparison. Wondering if I could or not. Interesting. That's actually kind of useful. Not right now, mind you, but... I don't know how that makes sense to me, whether it would be useful. Okay. Unless this with this. No. I wish I could just, like, set the preview to be a specific frame, so I could use it as a reference point. But, like, no matter what, it is going to be the frame that it's currently on. It is really annoying. Mainly, the short answer is I could just do this. That just seems silly to do. Okay, we should still have it loaded, so let's do this. So that's where that goes. So what changes need to clearly be made, especially knowing that we'll need to actually have an image of case on. So I can use as a reference point. Case on VTuber. Yeah. Okay. Hime Hajime, who the fuck's that? Okay, so... Doesn't look bad. Doesn't look great though. There'll need to be a lot more movement with the coat. Okay. Hmm. So, I think I want to change this bit up here now. That looks a little bit better. Ironically enough, it actually makes it feel like she's kind of doing a bit more of a twist with her movements, which I feel actually is a bit more accurate. So I'm down with that. So now we got to change up the hair a little bit and add the shadow. Because like the ponytail needs to move, right? And then just like the stuff around her face, and we should be good. Okay. And that'll be the idle, then we'll need to do the sprint animation, which is going to be a bloody nightmare, isn't it? Alright. You know, something that, I mean this with like the most compassion in the world, right? I'm fairly compulsively on Twitter nowadays. I check it like every few hours just to see kind of what's going on, see general trends, see just kind of generic information. I try not to stick to it for too long though. We just try and be on, see a little bit and then move on. So I'm not like that kind of mentality. But one thing I will say, and this is, so like I said, I mean this with the utmost respect to a lot of the artists and stuff. There are some people out there that do commissions. They're like, I cannot understand why I'm not doing commissions if these people can do commissions and get like work. I really need to pull my shit together. Because there are some people out there that, like, I don't think what they do is as obscenely incredible. But maybe I'm wrong, right? Like, again, it could be a matter of perspective on a lot of that sort of stuff. Don't get me wrong, there's also, like, for every one person I see that, like, does commissions and gets commissions, that I don't think it's that incredible. There's also like 2 or 3 people you see on Twitter that are like actually incredible. So very, very rare in comparison, but it's just kind of one of those things that catches me off guard of. Maybe I should redefine it as maybe I have too high of a standard expectation for what people actually want out of things. It's like, I'm sure that those people probably charge adequately for their services and stuff like that. Like, I don't see no problem with that. It's just something that's kind of catches me off guard every once in a while. I don't know, I think the one that catches me off guard the most is pixel art sometimes, because, well, pixel art's quite difficult for its own unique reasoning, right? One thing that really catches me off guard is how many people get things from some of these people that I would argue even I when I wasn't happy with doing my own art and all that sort of stuff, which I still ain't, but I would have probably just done that because I know it would have been just cheaper to get it done. Sure, it might have taken me a full day, but like, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I guess there's a lot of reasoning behind it. I mean, I've talked about this before, is that like, moving forward, I would like to hire artists, even if my art ends up getting better and better. Why? Because time-wise, right? Like a timeline, if I'm making a game, I want to have less stuff I'm doing so I can focus on doing more stuff. Yeah, that sounds really confusing, but like, focus more on my stuff more intently. That's a big thing with game dev, right? That's why working in a team is so good. It's why having, best case scenario, if you're an indie developer or something like that with a group of friends, like you've got one of you that's an artist, one of you that's a code monkey, and one of you is a musician. If you have 3 people and those 3 categories are covered, you're pretty much set. You will have probably no issues. As long as you communicate well and your friendship doesn't fall apart because of it. And that's kind of my problem, I guess, is like pretty much everyone I know is either code monkeys or, yeah, that's about it. Like, I know artists and stuff, but I wouldn't ask them to do this stuff because I wouldn't pay them. And I feel bad about not paying people. And the reason I nudge my friend into doing stuff is because he's my best friend. So what am I going to do with these here things? So this moving this way, so... Would I just nudge? Okay, that's good. That looks really bad when it's done like that. What do we think? I think that's good enough. Also, one thing I saw that caught me off guard, and I might test it out at some point, So someone, I was looking at some stuff around animation with pixel art, and someone showed skip framing, their stuff, and the changes that can kind of, result in. And that caught me off guard because, like, smooth pixel art animation and skip frame pixel art animation, I like skip frame pixel art animation a little bit more, and I'm wondering if maybe we need to, like, nudge that in a bit more. We already have really slow frame rates for a lot of things, but it depends on the casing, right? So, like, maybe I have to speed up a couple of frame rates, but add skip framing. To explain skip framing, basically, it means that, instead of doing it on ones, which is normally the case, you do it on twos, right? So every second frame, the animation would change. But yeah, I think that will be our idle done for the cleanup for Caisson. So I'm going to export the sprite sheet. And then we're going to work on a running animation. So for this, I'm going to need two different references. I'm going to need Caisson reference, and I'm going to need another character's sprint animation as reference. We're probably best to grab auras, because auras is got a code as well, and we can use that as a reference point. As well as it just tends to be like the one that I use for almost all of it, because I think it's one of the better ones I've done. Okay, so first things first, let's get the baseline colors done. And then eye color. Alright, actually I'm gonna turn this off continuous for now, because it's just gonna make this faster. There we go. Do you use the base, same base sprite for each model and then adjust based on the color palette and visuals? Pretty much, actually, is the short answer. This is maybe like kind of an example of how my coding brain works towards art, is that if I have the same constructor, the base foundation, and then I can build from there, then it's fine. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot of changes with some characters to really fit their personality a lot more. But then sometimes there's not actually that much in the way of alterations that need to be made. Like, one of the alterations I know I need to make is Shy Lily, because her arms do not look that great visually in game, because they're using these ones, and these ones look really bad when you're not using sleeves on your characters, right? Ironically enough, this is actually really awful looking when you don't have sleeves. But it does, yeah, no, it makes things a little bit faster and easier when you have a baseline template, because it means you're not reinventing the wheel each time. But as I said, like, there is some characters that regardless go off the reserve of that. One of the best examples, so I had a base template for the original templates. This is the original template here. Which is why a lot of the models are a lot larger, because they're on a 64 by 64 thing instead. So this is what we had originally. This is how I used to do it. This was the idle before. But even when that was the case, Juniper broke the rules. This was still back when we only had the baselines. Now ignore this because there's a lot of duplication, because it's how I did a lot of the stuff for a while, but this was back when we still used that. Does this look the same? That's the trick. The legs don't, the arms do. The arms and the head are still the same. So it's all about finding a common ground and then working from that. There's another character I wish I could show, but they're a secret character and I can't. That is also an example of a modernized version of a different kind of flying. Or floating, or whatever you want to call it. And, like, I still need to go over Junipers and redo it up. Like, I need to go through all of the old ones and bring them to a slightly newer standard, but that's a lot lower of a priority than a lot of other things. Like, it's not going to be this update that gets done by, because I just don't think it's that necessary with some of them. I do think Vox needs his visuals changed, and that's because, to give an idea, he was the template originally. The original Vox was the original template. Then he got pseudo reworked after I'd done like 2 or 3 more characters. So this, I believe, is basically the original. Which is why it looks really jank inside of here. So this is what we originally actually had for our designs. You can actually see, like, one of the big things, this little spot here, fills in with white. Because I hadn't really gotten stuff done correctly. Then we had his V2, which was this one. And this is using a lot more of the original things, but it's still changed a little bit. But his legs are still jank as fuck, because that'll just look bad. But that's one of the biggest problems I have with the current template that's used for a lot of them, not the new template, because the legs are a lot longer. And I honestly don't like that visual on a lot of them, because I think it doesn't look very good. Which is why I've actually shrunk the legs quite a bit. These were about, let's see, if I remember correctly, the head has been shrunk by about 1 or 2 pixels, the body has been shrunk by 1 pixel, and then the legs have been shrunk by about 1 pixel on average. Is the general kind of philosophy point for a lot of it. Did you just kind of learn as you went with A-Sprite? So, this is where we get to a kind of a mixed bag thing. I used to do a lot of art when I was younger, but I haven't done it since, like, high school, properly. I've done, like, maybe 1 or 2 pieces of art a year since high school, which, trust me when I say, that's a long, long time now. So, very, very irregular artist. But I used to be quite talented. Pixel art, though, and digital art in general, not really my area of expertise. With this stuff, yeah, it was a learning process. Everything I have done in A-Sprite has been just experimenting, playing around with concepts and ideas, and then, like, some situations, I'll see something and I'm like, you know what, I want to practice that. That's where a lot of the things, like, I will not deny, there's a reason why these characters look very reminiscent of Holocure's design, is because I used that as a reference when I was trying to kind of gauge a character. When I did Vox and Iron Mouse initially, I basically, what you see here where I have like multiple windows and all this stuff open, one of these was holocure, like holocure references. And it's why I know I got the legs wrong, is because I would look at holocure and I wouldn't get the animation speed right or the visuals right, and I would kind of reference how they've done their legs, which they've got a really good animation loop, they've got really nice framing for everything, so they can actually get away with a lot of their characters look really jank when you put them in freeze frame format. And I wasn't competent enough to compensate for the individual frames looking weird, so a lot of them look really bad. That's why, again, Vox looks really bad, even though he has had a soft rework way back when, of how his visuals went. Whereas, comparison to now, I mean, here is a very recent example of a sprint animation. Now, while the frame rate's a little higher than it's probably meant to, that should give an example of improvements. I mean, hell, we could go to... I'm going to tease something with this. And this is going to be a perfect example. Within about the same week of each other. So I'm going to pull up this one first. So this is the full moon. So this is something I'm really proud of. And let's see if I can find... No. Do I have the old one there? Is this the old GIF? No, that's the new one. Okay. I would have to look really hard to find it. But I made another monster that was like quite large and stuff like that, and its walk animation looked like it was hopping. It looked just bad. And then I made this, like, basically within the same week, learning from that. And that looks a lot more like an actual walk. So I came back to the other one and redid it up. It's actually probably easier if I just go to Discord and try and find a GIF in there. Because it would be a while ago, but it was a one that I did send. Because this was like before I was doing the splash arts. Which, like, that alone is an example of like the confidence and willingness to no longer care about some of the visuals and designs just moved. Here we go. So, is there anything that's gonna... No. So that there, that was a walk animation. That looks fucking stupid. That's not a walk animation. And to give an idea, this is its current walk animation. No, that's the idle. There. And that was something I did like a weekend ago. Yeah, I think it was this weekend past. I worked on that. So, like, that is an example of you just keep iterating and you learn why something's not the case. And I learned from that Juniper full moon form, okay, so the way a walk animation needs to be is leg here, do this, and like the legs need to be in very specific positions. That's why I'm actually really happy with that. Because I used a reference of another GIF that someone had done for full moon as a pixel art, and I looked at the way it walked and used that as a reference point. So you see here, front leg is arm back, leg forward on ground. This is on ground. You can see while this leg is moving back leg needs to start coming up, goes forward. When this is about to lift off, this hits the ground and this gets lifted up. And then you just repeat that on the other side in an opposite format. So when this hits the ground, this is lifting up. And so on and so forth. Gives hope for myself. Honestly, please take this as like a success story for yourself, because like, genuinely, I do not consider myself a stellar artist anymore. I used to be a lot better in high school. If I was to sort through some of my folders, you'd see like, let's try, actually, you know what? Let's embarrass myself for a moment. Drawing, no, it's gonna be in photos, images. So this was done. Let's see, which one's this one? Yeah, so this was about high school-ish. I think. This was sketches that I would do on paper. Yeah. Edgy teenager stuff. I was a lot better at dragons from memory, yeah, that was a thing. Those were like 10-20 minute sketches I would do back in high school. Without a reference or anything like that. Honestly, I look at the stuff and I'm just fucking blown away by some of the things I used to be able to do. And then I just deteriorated as fuck. Here you go, here was a back when... This was back when like Ruby Volume 2 came out, if this gives you a bit more of a dating of age. It's like, this was some of the art that I was doing. That was day 1, I don't have day 2, I have day 3. It's because this was part of like a month drawing characters. And I loaded these onto the computer, and this was the first time I ever interacted with digital art. So that was with the polish shop for that first day. This was the polish shop for the day 3 one. Which, god, that looks fucking bad. Holy shit, what's wrong with me? Oh. Oh. Oh, that looks, yeah. But then you get, what, this was, they look good? No, don't give them, they look good. They look bad. They look bad, and they're purposely quite bad. So here was, this was 2 years ago I did this. And this was a request from someone I knew. I sketched this up. This was me trying to learn how to get back into art, but kind of hating it. Did that, and I also did, I think, this one as well, kind of around that time. No, it was me just solely doing digital art. Yeah, here's 2001. 2021, sorry. Yeah, 2001, I was really ahead of the curve, huh? And like, this was when, again, I had just really started introducing myself to digital art correctly with this thing. And yes, this is the drawing pad I use. It's literally just a cheap Kuyon that was like 70 bucks at the time. And I'm sure you could probably get something cheaper now. Drawing her when she was in Atlantis. Yeah, exactly. I mean, hell, my channel icon. Fun fact, I drew that, and this is it here. And I drew that... When did I draw that? No, that can't be right. Did I draw it seriously 2 years ago? Okay. Yeah, about 2 years old. I've had this. And it's literally just me kind of drawing myself at the time, because I actually had a lot longer of a beard. I just tried to draw myself a bit more Chad styled based on some stuff. And I also had like way shorter hair as well. Like I had a longer beard and shorter hair. And probably I could find some images. I've shown some of them before. But like let's see. To give an idea though, like this was when I was starting to like learn referencing. So this here, this one that I showed, I think this was the only... Was this one of the only references I used? Yeah, I used this as a reference for it. Because I like the hair was insane and I kind of liked that. But yeah, now I'm starting to care less about my art again, which is actually a good thing because it means that I'm more willing to draw it. But here you go. So this is some art that I did back in 2018. There was that. There's that. That, and then I think this was me still using a mouse on Photoshop, if that gives an idea. So I was trying to like do adjustments and do cleaning up with this design. Because yeah, I think that was, yeah, it's using a mouse. I can tell you that now. This was using a mouse. There we go. I was much better at painting and sketching than, and especially mythical creatures. People were hard, man. People are really weird. Like, I could pretty much, at one point in time, and I can say this with utmost certainty, if you've ever seen Del Toro Quest's visual art style, at high school, I had learned how to do that style to the extent that I could draw a pretty competent dragon in about the space of 15 minutes on the side of my piece of paper. And when I say competent, I mean like full blown, you could see scales really nicely, the balance was all good and all that. I could do that well, but no, now I deteriorated because I didn't do it for years, and now I'm starting to get back into it, and now I'm approaching it with higher pixel art, which is an entirely new learning process. So do not underestimate how wildly difficult art gets sometimes. It's paint on canvas, but everything's surreal, so it doesn't really matter. See, that's, I mean, it matters though. Don't think it doesn't matter. Any art you do is awesome, because doing anything creative is awesome. Do not devalue yourself for that. Like, looking at my stuff, realize that this is coming from the perspective of a dude that, like, I genuinely didn't think I was ever going to get into art again, because I fucking hated it. Like genuinely, the hatred I had for art was pretty intense. So just requires constant work and effort. Gotta keep ticking away at it. I mean, well, if we go to the actual game, I still have it in here. Let's have a little look at the difference between... No, do I? I don't have it in there. No! Surely it's in here somewhere. Sure, I drew it external. Weapons. Truckun. I don't have it anymore? Oh, that was a mistake. Oh, we had the old truck, and the old truck was a great example of me just drawing something and hating it. I guess you kinda could use the arrows as an example, but it's a little less interesting. Here is an example of the original directional arrow that was done June last year. This is the one that we did the other day. Literally like 2-3 days ago. It's all about improving over time. But yeah, I think the one thing I will definitely say that should be taken away from what I just said. This tablet here. It's cheap, it's shitty, it's probably could get something similar at like a bargain bin. Don't care too much about the tools that you have, it's all about the skill that you have. If I got a better tablet, I'd be happy, sure, but like, it's a little bit better than you say. Exactly, right? Like, that is the philosophy you have to have, is that you're not going to see your own progress. Actually, let me pull up something. This was something I did for a little while, early in the year. As a way of forcing myself... open a new window. Forcing myself to learn... stuff, right? So this is all trace work, so don't be too impressed with this. It was more me trying to learn how to do a style and not being confident in that, and trying to get better at working with a tablet, trying to get my hand positioning right, getting motions right. So this was the first piece that I did, right? And this is using this tablet. This is just trace work of, and most of these characters are from Star Rail, Honkai Star Rail. And then within the same day, so again, like these are all dated and everything, we got that one. So I changed the pen that I was using. That was slightly better. And then this was also at the end of that day. Right? Now, you can still see there's a lot of line problems, like especially here on the thigh. It's not a straight line. It's pretty jank. And what I did with this setup is I would constantly be trying to do it every few days. As you can see, there is a lot of gaps, and I haven't done it for a little while, and that's a mistake. I should be doing it more often. But if we just like click, let's see. That was when I was doing shape language, so that's not going to be all that great for showing. That was when I was just doing headshots, because at one point in time I was trying to limit the amount of time I had on it. I only had like 30 minutes, because it would be the 30 minutes I had before stream. Let's see if we can find... Yeah, here we go. So this is a fair bit more of a recent one. And you can see the lines are a lot better all of a sudden. So again, progress. Look at the most recent one, and I think it's just a headshot again, because I only had like 20 minutes for it. But like, look at that. Even I'll admit, this looks actually pretty decent. The line work's on point, most of the stuff's correctly crafted. I even gave him a little bit more of a cat smirk. Stuff like that. You're not going to improve overnight, but you're going to, like, you're not going to drastically improve overnight, but you're going to keep improving. Just got to keep doing more and more. I mean, yeah, this was Firefly. It's actually pretty... This one is very hard to do because none of the references were very large at the time. What was this one? Silver Wolf. Oh yeah, this was just her hair because I really wanted to work on her hair. That's looking a lot better. I actually have multiple Silver Wolves, so we can do a comparison. So we have this Silver Wolf, and then I'm sure there was another Silver Wolf pretty early on. Yeah, here we go. Second day I was doing it. So let's focus just on the head. Look at the difference between those. It's a bit hard to see. Let me zoom it a bit better. So the one on the right is the second day of me doing like this art boot camping to myself, and this one on here is months in. You can see a difference. It's pretty clear. And that's what you should do, is you should just keep going and going and going, and then every few months do a comparison to what you had months ago, and that way you can actually go, oh, yo, no, I have actually gotten better. Because it's important to ego boost yourself. Never underestimate the importance of an ego boost. I'm gonna say that now. A lot of people don't value it very highly, but it's actually quite important. Good advice. I hope it is. Be very bad if it wasn't good advice at this point. But yeah, no, that's my big thing towards that. I mean, it's the same with programming, right? I've talked about this before. So I have been working on this game since February last year, and I only started programming on stream since June last year. I have gone back and looked at that stream. Oh my lord, what was wrong with me? The decisions I made, the way I constructed things, awful stuff. There's actually legacy code still in the game. I think in here is one of the best examples. There's a specific spot I wish I knew where it is. I think I've gotten rid of it. I think it was in here, and I think we've gotten rid of it. Yeah. We've gotten rid of it. It might be in the main, but there was the original way I did upgrades at one point in here. And oh good lord, it was a mess. Yeah, no, I've gotten rid of it. Code is just such a daunting thing to even consider. Yes and no. Again, it's one of those things that, like, it's a lot scarier looking at it externally than it actually is. Don't get me wrong, some of my code's a great example of, like, it being daunting, because some of the stuff I've done is on the more complex side. But again, I've said this before, like, one of the best indie games success stories we have is Undertale, and that game is just a bunch of switch statements. Like, it's bad. It's really bad. But it works. Does it matter? At the end of the day, the player doesn't actually give a shit what's behind the scenes. If the game runs and game runs well enough, and they can have a pleasant experience, they don't care. you could do the most war crimey of programming behind the scenes, and the player will never know, as long as it doesn't affect their game. Like, as long as it doesn't create memory leaks, and as long as it doesn't over necessarily use processing and it's foul, it doesn't matter. I stand by, it's not that hard to getting to the point where you can write that code. Especially nowadays, there is so much tutorialization out there. It is perfect time for learning it. Because, again, Game Maker is always a great example, is that you can probably make a game in about 15 minutes without any coding knowledge going into it. And that's because they have a tutorial literally called Make a Game in 15 Minutes, and it's just asteroids. It's the little thing flying around the screen shooting asteroids and breaking them. That's it. And trust me when I say, I could probably make that in about 5 minutes nowadays. And I could make it in the space of 15 minutes, I would probably have made it several times more complex and more interesting. That's where we're at. That's the advantage we have. Like, don't get me wrong, I have a coding background and I've always been a math nerd, so I've got those advantages for me. But I'm also, like, again, programming something that is a hard thing to learn to an extent. It's a language, right? It's, if you've ever tried to, like, learn German in, English, as an example point, you'll know that there's some difficulty because the syntax is different. Same with Japanese, the way that the language is structured. It has objects and adjectives in different positioning, but you get used to it. It's a bit hard initially, but you learn it. And you know how you learn it? By using it. Make games. That's the short answer. Make games. Want to get better at making games? Make games. You're scared to make them? That's fair, but make them. No one's going to care about your first 3 or 4 games most of the time. Neither should you. Just use them as learning experiences. You're not going to make the next World of Warcraft or Minecraft as your first game. Well, not normally. So, kind of accept that and use it as learning. I mean, I've talked about this before. One of my favorite stories is... there was a developer that would basically produce like several games a year. Just want to make it for you, really? That's fair enough. Right? Like, you don't need too much. But yeah, so there's this one developer that was made several games a year, and he made a really terrible mobile game that's like Fart Hotel, something like that. And it was about making people fart. That was it. And someone reviewed this product and said the people look very animatronic-like, and it looks really disconcerting. So the developer took that to heart and decided to make the next game about animatronics. The next game was called Five Nights at Freddy's. Make shitty games. Keep making lots of shitty games, and guess what? You can make something really cool out of it. So, do not underestimate just making stuff. But yeah, no, it's fair enough to want to make a game for yourself. I mean, I think that's how a lot of people think. Have to give it another bash. I highly recommend it. I mean, I will also say, and this is the one thing I think a lot of people fail to kind of express when they're talking about this, it's not for everyone, right? It's a creative process. Not everyone enjoys that creative process the same way. Like, a writer might not enjoy playing games, but a writer enjoys being creative. Or like, they might not like making games, but they like making stories. Not every creative thing, like everyone has creative things that they like doing, but not everyone shares the same creative things. I'm very creatively minded towards programming. This is what I've said before, like, given the chance, I would never do art again. I don't want to do art, and in later games, I plan on never touching art, outside of maybe a dev test thing. I want to program. I love programming. Programming is super fun to me. But that's because that's me. And not everyone's going to think the same way. Hell, there's going to be people out there that are like, I would love to make a game, but I don't think I'm good at programming, but I think I'm decent at art. So, cool. And that's fine. I mean, again, there's a recent example, or, well, I say a recent, it's kind of recent. It was this year, I believe, was it Slay the Princess or whatever the name of the game was? That game was visually beautiful, but the gameplay loop of it, and conceptually speaking, was really basic. But it was really engaging, and a lot of people enjoyed that. Why am I bringing that up? Well, that was because they did art. They liked art, and they wanted to make a game. There is so many games like that. There's also something that like pisses me off personally, is that because I come from a programming perspective and not an artist perspective, there's a lot of like animation stuff I would never be able to like learn to an extent that would make it worthwhile. That means that there's so many like 3D-ish games that I would never be able to accomplish on my own. That's something that angers me, because there's something I saw that they approached a concept I've wanted to do, but they approached it from an artist perspective, and because of that, it was visually appealing all the way through, even if it wasn't optimal. And I'm sitting there like, I want to make that, but I would never have thought to make it that way. And it ended up looking way better than anything I probably would have actually worked on. Everyone has unique things that they bring to the table due to themselves and the way that they approach things. So work like that. This is where we get to the whole thing of, this is why AI will never take over, because AI can only spit out the same stuff that's already done. It can't be innovative. Or innovative in a meaningful way. That's what people want. That's why all of those like Lethal Company styled games worked really well, is because all of them were different. They may have been pretty much the same thing, but they all worked differently or had different aspects to them. Content, was it the content creator one? That one was really funny and has actually kind of sadly died off, even though it's gotten really cool updates. But that was made in like only a week, I think. I think that was made for a challenge. Celeste was actually originally a game jam from memory, and that became a huge game. There's a lot of games that actually, in indie space, that start out as that. The idea that they don't actually start out as a product that they want to sell, it starts out as a thing that they're just doing because they're doing a thing. A game jam. So do not underestimate just making stuff. I can only offer ideas, unfortunately, so. I mean, I'm gonna say this now, I'm an ideas person. Back when I worked different jobs and stuff like that, a lot of the time I was liked because I was just a really good ideas person. And it's not that I would always work on the thing myself, it's that I would like come up with a concept, a solution, and enact the right people to resolve it. I was always a good team leader for that. And look at me now, I'm making an entire game pretty much on my own. Hating art and all that sort of stuff, it's fine. You'll get very quickly from me, my perspective on a lot of this is, don't put yourself down. The only person that's putting yourself down and saying you can't do this at the moment is you, really. If someone else is saying it, just ignore them. But you're going to listen to yourself because you know how your own weak points. You're your own actual problem. Gotta learn how to kind of push past that. Try things. I mean, one of the things that I'm most annoyed at is that I didn't do that when I was a lot younger, for example, right? Like, you got your teens and your 20s for that sort of thing. I've missed a lot of that train. Like, sure, I did things during those times, but a lot of those were in directions I wish I didn't try them in. And then I also tried to do things during those times I wish I... Again, like, I wish I hadn't, but I learned from them. But there was also a lot of times where I just wasted that time. Nowadays, we're in an era where time is so much more valuable. So, but it's never too late. Right? That's why I'm doing it now. I do have to kick my ass into gear with it, though. As the perpetual problem. Won't help with me keeps distracting you. Hey, look, I don't consider this a distraction. There's a I work on a way where like I work best when I'm talking with other people because it means that I can develop my own ideas and then I can think on other things at the same time. Doing the art, like I'm constantly considering like what I do need to actually look at. That's why I'm just looking at the here at the moment the way I am. Is because I'm actually quite happy to be slow on this. Yeah, see, that doesn't look good like that. And trust me, if I want to actually not be distracted, then why would I stream, right? Trust in the process. Alright, copy this. Delete this, paste this. Okay, that's most of the here working. What's my stream schedule? I mean, I've got it over on Twitter and on YouTube, but I can pull it up real quick, because I change mine per week, but I'm pretty consistent. Where is the link? Copy link. There we go. That is my current week schedule, but it's pretty much kind of similar to that. Normally I don't go past Friday, which is Thursday on that list. Keep in mind my times are weird. Technically, that schedule starts on Monday for me, even though it says Sunday. But yeah, normally I'm trying to stream like Sunday to Thursday according to those schedules is the aim normally, but I decided to take Wednesday or yesterday off because for a few reasons. I've been having a few problems with my life at the moment, and I thought I needed a little bit of a break in case. And it ended up also Star Rail's update came out, so it meant that I could just binge the shit out of that, and that was good. But most weeks it's pretty much like that. 4 or 5 times a week. Rule of thumb. I've considered having a bit more of a structured, like, locked-in schedule, but I don't think that would be all that great, I'll be honest. Like, what's the real difference that it would bring me, really? Alright. Control C. Control C. That's looking a little bit better. Kind of want to move this up a little bit on this frame. Actually, you know what we could move? We could move all of this up by 1 frame. Yeah. This is the thing that I've been learning the most with the more recent ones is the more like actual movement that's going on, the more you can hide like the fact that the model is very basic looking. That you're only working with, technically I'm working with like 32 by 32 pixels. So the best way to hide it is to actually have a lot going on, having a lot more interesting events going on with it. That's why like movement is so much more important. That's why this aura one down here looks so much nicer. Again, frame rate's a little off, but it looks a lot nicer. In fact, there's probably better examples. Distracts the eye, yeah, exactly. Like if you've got enough going on, it works. That was the thing like I was talking about earlier, is that with holocure's style, it gets away with it because it has a lot of nice motion going on with its hair, with its arms, with everything, with its clothes. The artist that they have for that is an incredible individual, and they know what they're doing. I don't, which is why there's a problem. So again, best example. So this is Vox's running animation. Technically speaking, if you remove the umbrella and the cape moving, is there actually any movement? Not really. It looks pretty shocking. Especially, look at those legs. Woo. I mean, hell, we've even got Gura's running, right? Which that actually has like a little bit more movement going on, the hair moves a little bit, and that helps make the character look more interesting. So it's all about the balance of that as well, because if you go too far, you go too far as well, and it looks really cluttered mess. I'm not sure I've found that balance quite right as of yet. But it's one of those constant work at it, right? Okay, now we've got the hair done. This is going to be the hard part. How am I going to transfer these clothes over nicely? Oh, pardon me. I don't see a way that these clothes come over cleanly. So I'm gonna yoink this frame's version of the clothing and use it as a base net. Think about how it needs to get positioned. Probably start here, and then the short answer is trim that away. Take those away. Grab this and rotate it over here. And then this would come here. This needs to be changed up. Ooh. I went eraser, not blur. Kind of like that, maybe? But yeah, there's a reason why all of them are Naruto running, basically, is because it's just easier to have the arms flapping behind like that. Originally, I had the animation so they would be having their arms kind of like doing the 90 degree, but that shit's fucking annoying. And plus, it seems more anime-meme that way, right? Having the Naruto run. So much to consider. Yeah, like there's a lot that goes into the kind of thoughts of it. You'd be surprised at, like, it's not even just the front arm as well, it's technically the back arm. Because if I was to do the 90 degree running, then I have to have the back arm. This way I can get away with never actually drawing a back arm. Yes, I'm not kidding. It is a lazy argument. I will not deny in the slightest there is a very valid lazy man argument to why I'm not doing the second arm, and it's just I don't want to. I don't have to, so I don't want to. Work smarter, not harder. Exactly. I mean, okay, can I... I wanna show something. There's two places I can show this. I'm gonna show it on the one that's least, like, problematic. So, I already showed earlier the Juniper EX, right? Can I just show something really funny about this? So, it's got a shitload of layers, right? Like, a lot of layers going on with this sprite. So, each of the layers are basically an individual part. If I actually hide a few of these things... let's try and... So we hide those. So this is the arm in the background. This is literally the copy-pasted arm from the front, and this is the actual shoulder piece here. I don't need to draw a full arm. Look at the fucking... It's not even colored correctly here! This is the definition of work smarter, not harder. Why should I have to draw the entire thing fully and correctly when I know what I want out of it and I get the visuals right, but it looks so... I mean, technically speaking, this shoulder piece is literally never been redrawn. It's just been grabbed with the move tool and reshaped, if you look at it. Like, it's just constantly getting dragged up and down in size. I mean, the back leg as well here, the back left leg, that's also just literally copy pasted of the one in the front and then slight tweaks. Never underestimate the ability to just not want to do the work. As human ingenuity and development is all about finding a way not to do something. The least necessary actions is human development. Hence why templates are good. So, yeah, no, it's just... yeah. Gotta find your ways to make things easier for yourself. Why bother drawing something when I don't have to draw it? I mean, at the moment, there is multiple projectiles in the game that just use Juniper's, particle effect for her main weapon, because it's just easier than remaking it. And I just recolor it so people don't notice that it's the same one over and over again. That's something that always amazes me. So many people complain when like, oh, this video game developer clearly doesn't care because they reused assets. It's like, no, they do care. They just also know that they don't want to spend 7 years making your game and getting every single piece of art asset done again. God, that's really jarring, seeing the outfit completely disappear like that. Oy. So how far back do I want the coat flapping? Probably all the way, honestly. Yeah, it's always people that don't fully grasp the amount of work required for every aspect. Yeah, it. I like something that I really I can make something with unique assets, but the gameplay is jank and the story is boring and it's silent playthrough. Yeah, like there is so many situations where people just really don't understand a lot of those sorts of aspects. And look, I'm not going to say you're wrong for not understanding this. It's just maybe when you go to complain about something, do your due diligence of maybe looking into why something's the case, right? Something that always amazes me, and I'm not wanting to get too political with things, but like taxes. It's like, oh, I hate taxes, I don't like taxes. Like, do you know why taxes exist? In my country, taxes exist so I can go to the hospital for free and get pretty much everything I need done if I need it done there. So in an emergency, I have that. I pay taxes so, for example, at the moment, I'm actually on a beneficiary system. So it means that people on the beneficiary can be paid. So it means that I'm actually ensuring other people's livelihoods. I'm also paying for my roads to be fixed. I'm paying for my schools to actually stay open. All these things. Now, I'm not saying this is exactly the case in every country, but this is an example of just, it's fine to complain about something, but do your due diligence to understand why something exists. Why does this game reuse assets? Well, that's because making every single handcrafted asset is not only going to take a millennia, but it's also going to rack the size of your game up significantly. And we're already complaining enough about games being over 100 gigabytes. Why would we... Like, do you have any idea how a game like Cyberpunk, if it didn't reuse a lot of assets, it would easily be 10 times its size? That's insane to think about, but it's true. And just think about how even more buggy it would be as well. I mean this with love. I mean this with love. But like, goddamn. At the best of times, that game, I swear. So, it's... Yeah, it's always a confusing one, that sort of stuff. Films and TV reuse stuff all the time, exactly. I mean, anime openings, why do you think they can look so good? It's because they use it in front of every single episode. Why do you think they can get a really banger song normally? It's because they use it in front of every episode. But what about this one anime that doesn't do that? It's probably because they have a fucking budget that is exceeding that. Or they've cut corners in other areas. An example of this, and I can't believe I'm about to use it, VTuber Legend, an anime that's coming out at the moment, has different ending scenes and stuff like that all the time. Why? Because they're cheaply made. And it's basically using baseline assets. As well as the series has gotten away with just reusing gameplay from actual games. And it's phenomenal. And there's several moments where they can just like not animate a high quality scene, and that's great. It's about using your resources in the correct locations and allocation. So this is okay. You want to hear why? Like, so I say that, and I immediately think about my complaints with like character creation. How much I hate most games adding character creation just because people want it and not because it's necessary. Example of this: Far Cry 5. Yes, you can customize your character, like actually what their skin pigment is, gender, all these things. You can customize this. Why does that matter? The game is seen from a first person's perspective. You get to see your hands, your arms, and maybe your feet. I don't give a shit what my character looks like. Especially if that means that you can't do a lot with voice acting or anything like that, and you have to make more genericness with things. Because one of the big failures that a lot of the that game especially did was it focused too much on making the villains interesting, which was the opposite of why Far Cry 3 did well and why Far Cry 4 was decent. I really care about my face in first-person games. Exactly, right? Like, it's so important. I need to feel like I'm looking through a face that I care about. Oh yeah, I've forgotten exactly what they look like, but you know... Don't worry, I'll go to a locker, change my outfit, and that's the only time I think you actually even see your face in that game. Look, I'm not saying there's not room for this, right? Because then you get Baldur's Gate 3, which I think that game did need character customization to the extent that it had. Honestly, phenomenal. Wise idea. Cool. Do that. But that's a different argument. Why? Because that's a roleplay game that's heavily about looking at your character. It's a D&D game. I'm sorry, if you told me, oh, you can play D&D, but you can't make your character, I would definitely have a few moments of raised eyebrows. So, huh? What? Is that the point? Is I make my own character? The customization? All that? Okay, then, never mind. And then some games do it as a meme. Power World came out very similar timing. That one, honestly, character customization, they threw that in as a joke. Especially the choices that they did make with it, they got it a lot of praise. Found really funny. But yeah, you can make it so your thighs are ginormous, but your upper torso is skinny as fuck. And I did that, and that's funny. This is why I make an active effort if any game adds character customization, I try and make the most hideous thing I can. Because it's an example of just showing what is the extent that they let you get customization to, and is this necessary? Most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's very much not. I would prefer... I mean, fuck it. Diablo 3 is a great example of a game that you could have actually had a shitload of customization in that for its characters. But no, they made the characters more specific. They made them more intently. That's fine. Because it means that they can put a lot more effort into crafting a character. I think people appreciate deep customization or meme customization, but not the in-between. Yes. No, I 100% agree. I don't like surface level customization that's unnecessary, and I stand by my statement of I don't like character customization in general in the majority of cases. I think, one thing that I genuinely think is that more games should adopt the philosophy of, does this game need a custom character, or what it actually might need is a character that is more deeply constructed. A example I can think of off the top of my head for this is God of War, right? That character is the entire point of the story. It's very carefully constructed around the concept of this specific character and their story. And then people will go, why is there not a female variant? It's like, because the amount of time and effort is unnecessary to changing that. Ironically enough, this is actually why I take the piss out of all of the names in Persona series. Every main character I've named with a meme. Bend Over, Phil McCracken. I've never taken the naming seriously. Why? Because it doesn't matter. You could have given me that game without a custom name, and it would change basically nothing about that game. Because a lot of people as well just call the characters by their supposed lore names when talking to other people. It's like, oh yeah, it's Joker, or oh, I actually can't remember his name. I really can't. But they have actual names in the wikis and stuff like that. I think isn't Persona 3's one Ren or something like that? And it's just like, yeah, does the name actually matter? No. It adds a little bit of customization to your experience, but was it really necessary? In fact, it can take me out of the experience sometimes because I'm sitting there like, and they're saying, hey, what do you think of this leader? And it says my name in the dialogue. And it's like, well, it's not the same thing as what you said. Sorry, I'm double checking some colors because I was just thinking about that. Been avoiding all Persona players. I want to experience it all firsthand, playing it at the moment. Yeah. It's a good series. Highly recommend it. Good fun. Watch Sayu play. Fair enough. No one can blame you for that. Okay, so if I'm doing this, then this is going to have to change. Yeah, so we're gonna do this. Move this a bit closer. Need to drop. Got early conference calls in the morning. Been great chatting with you, and I'll catch up again at the weekend. Fair enough. Enjoy the rest of your day, and hope you have a good rest. I hope your conference calls aren't too painful. I know how that can go. Oof. Reminds me of fucking great times. Alright, we need you to double check this billing. Oh, okay. Yay. So glad. As you can see, I'm very positive about that stuff. Ironically enough, great business. I love doing business stuff, but fuck me. Sometimes you're just like, I can't strangle you. I am not legally allowed to. And for legal reasons, that's a joke. And then I did have a little gold and pink thing there. Me being professional is not slamming everyone's heads into their death. Oh, I so feel that. Oh, I so feel that. Oh. Oh, I genuinely cannot stress enough how much I truly understand that moment. I'm not allowed to break the rules. What's the rules? Killing you is a bad idea. Oh, okay. Alright. That looks pretty interesting. Alright. I should also mention, today I'm expecting a... Fuck, right. I'm gonna have a look at something in a second. It's funny. I'm expecting a phone call. If I do get it, I'm gonna have to mute for a little bit. We'll see how it goes. Shouldn't mean too much more than that, Oh, Steam Families launches today. If you choose to leave a family, you must wait 1 year from when you joined the previous family before joining. Yeah, it's a bit of a. I don't know how I feel about that one. But no, I just saw someone that's like, oh my god, I got E6 Robin and just 200 pulls. She loves me. And it's like, me. Not only is that actually incredible, but like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. Just goddamn. Goddamn. Oh, actually, can I like have a gawking moment over Star Rail? Because like I feel like I haven't done it today, even though so the new update came out. Been awesome, enjoying it. I was gonna pull for Facial, guaranteed. I got her on a 50-50, but it was really low, late into the pulls, and I've also gotten her light cone off of the a not guaranteed as well. And I'm going to just keep pulling. Honestly, she is one of the few characters in the game that I make my argument of I want her E6'd if I could. Her and Acheron are the main ones. Because I expect the game to obviously, like, eventually power creep those two characters by a good long shot. But honestly, that's fine. Like, of all of the spoiler characters I know of that come in the future, I'm not really too caring. Like, Rapper looks cool for a lot of things, but I'm not going to pull for her. And I'm only going to probably start caring about reruns. One of the reruns I care about the most is Aventurine, so I can get his Lycone, his signature Lycone. Because I got him at like E1, and he's such a good character. He's so good. And I just kind of want to get his signature because it's really nice. But yeah, no, Fei Xiao is probably the last DPS I'm going to pull for that's new and not a rerun for a very long time. I'm not gonna lie, best case scenario, right? And I say this very much in an absolute sense. Best case scenario, I walk away with like maybe E2 with one or two more signature pulls, and I'm gonna then try and pull for like Robin's signature. But there's a very low chance that I'll get that lucky moving forward. Because I do like Robin's signature. I think it's actually a really good one, even comparative to the event one, which there's a thing about the event cones coming up soon. Also, just saw this email. One of my mates is playing Deadlock, and he said he still had some invites, so he sent me one my way, so I'm going to have a look at that game at some point, probably this weekend, maybe over the next few days, and have a play around with it. I don't know if I'm going to stream it. I don't know if I can get away with streaming it because of the resource requirements. My computer might die. But I will definitely give it a shot and see what the game's like, because I loved Smite. I thought Smite was a really awesome game in terms of concept. And I think they executed on a lot of cool fantasies in that game that you can't execute in other like styles of that sort of game. And I see Deadlock as an opportunity for that sort of stuff, but with more Overwatchy characters, is what it seemed like. Which is not a negative thing, right? I'm really interested to see what that game has to offer. So I'm very thankful to my mate that sent me a key to that. And it will be a big talking point coming up, I think, as well. Like, a lot of people have said a lot of positive things about it, so just that alone makes me quite interested. That's why it felt a little off. Okay. I'm still not gonna make it quite that long, so I'm just gonna start this here. 1, 2, do that, get this. Okay. Let's try taking this. We'll move it on to this one and do the necessary editing. Second frame. Okay. So this goes out by 2, so we'll only go out by 1. Like that. Okay, there we go. This will always look jank. Again, this is one of those things of you're never going to truly get an animation that looks nice. But the benefit is that this is moving fast enough and we kind of want to cover our tracks. Its legs are always gonna look weird though. But nobody notices. It's fine. Right? Nobody notices. Everyone notices. Oh my god. Okay, you know one other thing that I want to say is really fucking funny. To anyone that has played Star Rail, Moza, like when you get him, his dialogues that he'll send you, like the message of dialogues that you get from him, actual insanely funny. It's like I could be anywhere. You have no idea. I could be inside of that trash can. And if you think I'm kidding, I'm fucking not. Go look at it on Steam later. I wonder how big Deadlock is. Surely it's probably not that big a game. I'm sure Steam's good at compression. Yeah, I know, I'm actually gonna fucking call out a lot of large-scale companies that aren't good at compression. The reason why I get annoyed is that, like... Well, so while I was complaining earlier about, like, how games get really, really large, one of the biggest issues with that is that, like, a lot of these companies aren't actually innovating in compression. And data compression. In fact, one of the only companies that I know innovated in data, that sort of stuff is Riot Games. That's why League of Legends is actually on the smaller side, compared to what it should be. They're really, really good with data compression, and what comes with data compression, this is a big failure that a lot of people misunderstand, is it's not about compressing the data, it's about what to do when you're uncompressing the data. Like how to read that information, move that data around. That's what's important. So yeah. Also, I'm gonna nag my friend so I can stream Star Rail to him, because apparently there's a new quest going on Discord. God, my eyes are starting to die. I can't actually... the difference between some of these colors looks way more than they actually are. Okay, so this is when we do the other thing. Okay. Do this. Do this. And we'll see what it looks like here again as a reference point. Okay, do that. Good lord, sorry. Because I gotta keep in mind that the suit has got a split coloring, so we kind of got to design with that, which is a little confusing to me. I'm not very great at it. Okay, I think that's the main stuff. And then it's going to be pseudo repeating. So it actually looks pretty solid so far, yeah. Oh. Dude, I've been having such a twitchy eye recently. It's not a good sign, probably. Bro, I hate that, October is now just Halloween month. What does the world come to? Okay, I have to say, there's a meme I've been avoiding talking about because technically it's a day late for me, but it's not in America. There's a specific date it is at the moment. I'm not gonna go into it much, but I always appreciate the willingness to take the piss out of some of the stuff. It's very tragic, it's very fucked up, but it's kind of funny to just watch people go full whole ham on some really stupid memes during this time. It's great. I don't think anyone takes the piss out of it quite as much as the actual Americans. Gotta give them credit where credit's due. It can be funny sometimes. Alright, let's get the rest of these run animations done. Okay. What's that one that it needs to be for? Grab this color. People aren't gonna notice that too much, but they are going to notice this. Yeah, it's gonna look a bit weird, but I think that's the correct thing to do. Yeah, it's looking a little bit better. I'm gonna be back in just a second. I'm feeling a little peckish. Oh, there we go. You get to see me with my hair down. A rarity. Actually see that I put a lot of effort and care into my hair. Don't get to see it though. get something to eat. I'll keep that there so I can eat again later. Alright. It's alright. It's not really much I want to do to this one. Other than just getting the legs positioned correctly. Oh. Dude, the pain of having a beard. So, if you're wondering why I do that from time to time, it's because the length of my... So, the length of my mustache is variable because it's what you actually do when shaving it. For me, at least. Here, it's really short because you cut away everything that's around the mouth. But the ends here are super long. Right? And it does mean that every once in a while when you're like eating, they get caught and then come, it's not very obvious, but they get caught in like they just the edges of them come into the corners of your mouth. So if you ever wonder why like I eat or like in general is just I do that, is to get the fucking things out of my mouth. It's a little thing that is always quite fascinating. And then you might go, well, why have a beard then if it's got so many irritating things? It's like, well, because I look a lot better with a beard. I'm fine giving up the simplicity of not having to deal with that for the fact that I wouldn't have to shave every 2 days at least. If not, honestly, I get a 9 o'clock shadow about 2 hours after shaving. So, you know... my facial hair grows very, very fast. Or at least the initial of it grows very fast. So I can't get rid of that. Like, I have to shave, like, if I want to be clean shaven, like, constantly, I have to shave twice a day. If I'm just clean shaving for work purposes, I will have to shave at least once a day. And that's with, like, a foil and everything, so... And I've had really good razors and I've had really cheap razors and it's pretty consistent across the board. I am less screwed. So I just put up with having a beard. It's much better. And I also don't look like a child. I look closer to my age. And people are less likely to ask me for my bloody ID. It's great. It also means that, like, I have one thing that means even if I get called off-brand pirate software, I at least can grow a beard, which is better than him. Haha. One advantage. I'm going to go to my grave with that being like the one thing I can hold over him. If I ever meet that man in real life, I'm going to like shake hands with him and go, at least I can grow a beard. What do you think of that pirate software? Oh yeah, it's also Russian Badger's birthday. Nice. He's older. Maybe he'll make content faster. Eventually, with his wisdom, his age will come wisdom and how to do the videos faster. I love the man. I love the man truly. Definitely on the list of people I'd love to actually meet. Want to go to a con or something like that and see him there. Do that. All right. Seems pretty good. So let's export these. Good lord. And now let's pull up our program and import the new ones. I guess bottom center is the one that I use now, right? Yeah. Same for running? Yeah. There we go. So now Kason is going to look a little bit different in game. More like what we probably should have had her as, honestly. Yeah, doesn't look too bad. I do think the head's a little weird, because we don't have like enough going on, I feel. So the head feels a lot more like rectangular. We also don't have any shadow on the run animation, I just noticed. So we can fix that really quickly. Again, this is one of those times copying and pasting could have been an answer, but bugger it, right? It's fast enough to do manually. Alright, here we go. File, export sprite sheet, export, yes, replace. Then we go back to the running animation, image, import, convert. Now it would look a little bit better again. That was fun. By fun, I mean not at all. Actually, you know one thing I will say that's kind of interesting, and going completely weirdly topical here, with the South Park stuff that I'm rewatching, right? So I talked about this earlier, but while rewatching South Park's beginning seasons, I'm starting to see, again, the shift in the comedy that it would use, where it would test certain concepts to see if it probably was going to go well or not. And it's really funny because you can actually see early on they're not as topical. They're still kind of like social commentary a little bit, but a lot less than they like. Even by season 3, they're really starting to get more towards these concepts more and more frequently compared to the first season. Like before, it was just like haha, like remote town things, right? It's fascinating to me to see that progression. Talking more about like, I mean, there's been moments of joking about police brutality. There's been moments of talking about certain events that would occur and the resulting effects of those events. And that's kind of interesting. Again, not going to say it's good. I'm just going to say that it's a fascinating kind of thought experiment that is being done by looking at this stuff. Okay. So we've got Case and Sprite working. Can leave that one alone. That's something I can work on, but I might need a sprite for that. And I'm gonna need an asset, some references for this. Truck-kun, an isekai board game. Fun. They're often just kind of that. Okay. This is very much just a temporary asset for the most part, but it doesn't stop the fact that I do want to put in a little bit of effort. Okay. It's a little bit dimmer. Sorry, I'm playing around with some stuff in my head while I'm designing this to decide on certain things. Cool. Oops. All right. That will come under parts. Sorry. Less stretch is important. So this is going to be the beginnings of the thing I've talked about before. So in the early stages of the game release of this current update, what we're going to do is, because shop's not going to be in the game, we want to give you a way of augmenting the amount of modifiers that you'd be interacting with on the portals. This is going to probably be how I do it, as I'm just going to make this somewhere on the map. You go up, you click, you interact with it, and you can change the values inside of that. The value that you can change is going to be the main modifier value, and that's going to basically go from a certain increment to a set, like within a space. I want to stress, this is a testing thing for testing even if these modifiers should have values like this. Or if there should be different approaches. Like, one of the ideas I've actually considered is having it so there is high odds of just an empty modifier being added. Just so we have a set modifier value, and you primarily get like smaller modifier pools, but you can get higher modifier pools. Like larger ones occasionally, and it's a bit more like that. Which I think that's probably a better approach. But I think this will be good for early on. Aye, second breath, Chris. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure quite how I'm gonna get this, because I don't have UI stuff implemented ready for this. And I was hoping that we would have sliders by now, because then I would just make it a slider. But I haven't been updated on whether that's the case or not yet. I do have a very simple solution for it, but I'm not too happy about it. Oh, yo, Pog? I just got a cool email. Yep, so I have now got a approval of the money that Macca's owes me. And now I just need to wait for them to deposit it. Which will be nice. Then I can finish paying off a couple of immediate things. Oh god, is actually that going to be the case? Oh shit, sorry, I just saw something that, like, someone was making a joke about something from the Star Rail update. And I'm wondering if that's going to be the case moving forward. I won't speak to it to avoid spoilers because it has only just come out, so I feel that that's kind of rude. But there is something happens to one of the characters and it means that they might not be able to type anymore. And someone made a thing of like how it's a voice translated to text and then sends the message. And I'm wondering if like we'll actually get messages from that character like that in the future. That'd be really cool if that was the case. I'd love that. But yeah, nah, fucking good times going on in Star Rail. I don't know why I went super Aussie with that. It disgusts me. Okay. So I'm not gonna work on any more programming, I think, for today. I know we didn't really do much in the way of programming today. It was mostly an art stream. But that's how it is sometimes. I do want to work on one thing before we leave off though, and it's the tavern's design. So at the moment, we don't actually have like a tavern layout. So I kind of want to take 8, 1, 2, 8, this, and like think about a layout for the tavern that you're going to be playing in. So let's just kind of play around with it for now. So at the moment, oops. Let's just say this is the base room. All right. So what I kind of am thinking is that we make a little room up here. Maybe a bit further up. I don't know. We'll leave it like that for the moment. And then, so this is where the, Just gonna do like a really shitty drawing of a mirror would be. So that's where the mirror is. This is where the portals are. So this is where the portals would be. And then like off to the side here. Would be like, where some characters would hang out. So there would be like a bar up here. And then some cute little like tables and chairs here. And this would just be where, like, characters you've unlocked would hang out. Right? So this would probably be, like, where maybe a minigame or two would be as well. Like karaoke, maybe. And then over here could be the, like, your personal room. So it would give you a lot more space. Oops. For God's sakes. And it would probably be more or less empty outside of like maybe one or two things. Maybe do we make the mirror part of your room? No. I feel like you should have like a room where you can just put collectibles in. Like unique collectibles, maybe event things if I end up doing like a Halloween event and Christmas event and Easter, yada yada yada, right? Like limited time only unlocks, which I wouldn't be against doing. That would be funny. Because then people can like have some prestige going on. It's not only earn things, but there's that, because... And yeah, you can call it fear of missing out stuff, but it's like, you play the game, you wouldn't be paying money. And fear of missing out in free-to-play environment is fine. Unless it's like super inflate game time. That's something I will try and say. So what I'd probably have it is like where shops would be, which is probably down the bottom here. There'd just be limited time only items you could buy from the shop. Or there'd be some like unique collectible achievements. But speaking of, yes, it would have some shops like here. And this would be where the stalls would be. with random doohickeys. So basically character select and stuff would be up here, because this way we can have it so your assist character might like sit down to the side. Just gonna make like an orange character. Just a seat. We'll leave it as a seat so you can kind of guess. And then, like, I still have plenty of room to work with if I make this room like this, because then we have all of this outside area, right? Which let's, for now, just paint as black. So it'll be kind of just empty void space for now. But we can make it, like, grassy, we can make it whatever. But, like, probably how I'm going to handle things initially is that this is going to... Ooh, this is going to get, like, blocked off. This is something I kind of want to start working on, basically. I might start changing the assets we use as well to just better accommodate this stuff. But, like, this will be blocked off initially. This will probably be open, but not fully functioning. This will be where that goes, and this will be... also blocked off and not fully functioning, but this will be like the room that you get later on. Once we're a little bit more confident and I can actually set up a system for placing down items and creating a player inventory like that. So you can actually get collectibles. And I want it known, and this is going to be like the hardest thing to explain because a lot of people are going to call me out on this. What about isn't that just the Holo Home and holocure and all that stuff? I have wanted to do this for so long. I've always wanted to have mini games. I blame Yakuza for a lot of this. I've always wanted that sort of stuff. Since initially. Like, the game has always been intended to be kind of like a tavern that you were hanging out in. For its lobby-ish room. We talked about the lobby room ages ago. And a lot of people got confused when I talked about lobby room, because everyone's like, oh, does that mean multiplayer? It's like, no. Lobby isn't like the physical space. Yes, we are doing multiplayer now, but that's different, right? But yeah, so the big thing about this, by the way, and this is going to probably be the thing that takes the longest, this is going to rely on whoever's the host as well for its information. Outside of the shops being like your specific shop, and probably this room being specifically what you see. So you see your character in here, obviously, and you would see your assist there. This area would probably be relatively speaking your host, and this will be definitely your host. Because I don't see how we'd probably handle it otherwise, unless we just, like, hide the player when they come in here. And then do the same here. But that, like, I feel ruins a lot of experience. There's an argument to be made, though, of, like, well, what if the assist character here, for one player, isn't the assist for another character? What would happen if they're turning up here? I'd probably make a lock for that, is my short answer. But, like, the first thing I will say is, like, for example, one of the innkeepers is going to probably be Nina Kosaka, because we do have an asset for her that I can probably tweak a little bit and bring it up to snuff. And I feel like that would just be kind of a cute little thing to have as one of the innkeepers. And we're going to do something like that. With other characters. I'm not saying definitely graduated individuals would be like these things, but it might be just characters that I would consider not to be intended to be playable characters, and we'll work from there. So I'm gonna actually save this. map layout ideas. So we'll kind of probably do that. That's what I think we're gonna do. So I'm gonna have to change the room size. I'm gonna have to redo the tile set system that I have for this, because we're gonna want to introduce a very different kind of style. So with that being the case though, I'm gonna call it here, because it's been a solid 3 hours. And while I keep telling myself I want to stream for longer, but every time I get to like the 3-hour marker, I'm kind of tired. I want to do something about that. Someday I will. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back again with programming on Friday, Saturday, and we got Persona tomorrow. Oh, so yeah, thank you again so much for watching. You're awesome. Stay awesome, and I hope to see you again next time. Till then, bye-bye.